So I've got a BMW Helmet with the Communicator built in. Really good piece of equipment this, and the helmet used to work really well. One of the issues that most people have is the battery gives up the ghost and doesn't hold any power. So the battery is actually tucked in just at the back here. You can see the wires maybe just there. And I've just read people actually just take that out and rewire it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace the battery by using a battery holder and rechargeable batteries, and it gives you about 2800 milliamp hours or something like that, and so you get a much longer life on your communicator, which is what I'm after. It used to last about a day. I think it lasts about half an hour now, so the battery's obviously shot. And of course, if you put it in a holder, you can just replace the batteries when they stop working. So let's go about taking this off. So the first thing is I've loosened this already. So that just clips off, which is a simple clip. Clips off the back. And then you have to start taking some of it to bits. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop filming for a minute and get some of these bits out, and then I'll show you where the battery is. Right, so that wasn't too bad. These things clip on to the helmet, so it all fits like that with the bottom bit in, so you just have to move them out the way a bit. That's the power cord, the big one there. So the battery is just tucked into this little side here, so that just slips out there. You can see there the hole for the battery. And then the electronics are on this side, and they slip out as well. And I presume the battery just clips in. So what I need to do is I need to take it out of its little case. So there's the original BMW battery, so 2400 amp hours. So there's the communicator battery out of the case. It's a little padded case, and I've taken the cover off. It's got a thick plastic cover to seal it. Batteries are... So what they've also got is they've also got a temperature sensor buried at the, taped onto the front of one of the batteries here. So basically, the temperature sensor is the yellow and black by the looks of it. It loops off the connection there, and then the red connects up the top here. So it looks like it's got a little temperature sensor buried in there, and so I'll unwind all this and see what it looks like. So there's it disassembled. So you've got power going to the top there, and then you've got power coming back through, looping through a temperature sensor that is siliconed between two of the cells. Don't know whether the first cells or the last cells, but two of the cells, and then the negative going that way. It doesn't look that complicated. Just have to reconnect the black temperature sensors in between the cells, stop the helmet overheating, and then resolder it all in place. Right, I do have some holders now. I'll get out and have a look what they look like, and take it from there. So I've got one of these double A triple battery holders, and it actually, there's plenty of room in that slot. The slot's quite big at the side of the helmet actually, and so all I have to do now, famous last words, all I have to do is transfer the wires onto this, and then the temperature sensor to sit in one of the wires. I've actually got a whole lot of these. They were on eBay for about 10 for $2 or something. Anyway, so now I just have to transfer the wires across to this. This is knackered, so it only holds charge for about a few minutes now. So I'm going to start cutting wires and see where I get to. So let's see how I get on. Right, here we are. I've got the two wires soldered together on the bottom there, and then the red soldered on the top positive. So these are just AA batteries. Nickel metal hydride. So it looks like a fairly easy process to put them together. So it does swap round, I'll put it that way. So the red will go to the top there. So the red's that one. And then the black, the final black, will go over to that one, which then the wire goes underneath the top here. So what I'll do is I'll just wire them all together. And then the sensor, I'll silicon on to the center of the batteries. And that should be a functioning communicator again. Right, let's get it soldered. Right, there it's soldered on. My soldering isn't great, but it seems to work. I had to be very careful here because the temperature sensor is very close to the end of the wire, so I held it as a heat sink and used this as well, just to keep it off the heat. The first one I melted the wires a bit, but it should be okay. And I've put some heat shrink on as well, so I'll put the heat shrink on over the wires, and that should be it all wired in. Now I just have to get some metal card batteries, and not metal card, nickel metal hydride, or whatever they're called, and that'll be it all fixed. So there's the batteries I'm going to fit. 2500 milliamp hours, 3 of them into the holder that I showed you earlier, and there's the little temperature sensor down the middle there, in between them. Now the original holder had a little bit of silicon just on top of there to hold it down into the gap. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a blob of silicon on it, and then a piece of tape over to hold the silicon, and then a piece of tape all the way around, and that should be me finished. So let's get the silicon on. Right, so there's the silicon in there with a little bit of tape over it to hold the temperature sensor down. And then what I did is I put a bit of Gorilla Tape. It's this strong, extra thick tape round. The original batteries had like a shrink wrap on them. I actually went to buy a 50mm heat wrap or shrink wrap, but it's pretty thick, so it would take a lot of temperature to shrink it. And I thought, I'm not sure I want to add temperature when I've got nickel metal hydride batteries. So basically what I've done is I've wrapped these with a bit of Gorilla Tape that'll hold that down, and then into the little pouch, and then I'll get it fitted back in the helmet. Right, there it's in there, so it's tucked to the side. It's pretty tight because it's got an extra frame on it now. The wire just tucks down the back here, just seems to sit under the whatever that's called, the foam, and then all the other wires seem to just stuff down the back there. It's not an overly elegant solution, but it seems to work. So that's the wires in, the battery in, and that's the charger cable. Right, there it's finished. Everything just clips back together again. Just pop studs inside the helmet. The looks to be like it's charging. I'll leave it for a while. Check that it doesn't get too hot. Temperature sensor should be okay in there. And that's it. BMW with new batteries, because you can't get the old ones apparently. That cost me $24 for the batteries, and about another 25, I think it was 25. I had some silicone, but it was all dried up, and I bought some heavy duty tape for the batteries. So 50 bucks all up, and that's the BMW Communicator hopefully working again. I'll tell you next time I go for a ride if it's working or not. Thanks for watching.